This is Watch Me Animate. Select your character. Jumper selected. Select your mode. 3ds Max.
Hey everyone, it is finally ready. I'm excited to announce the launch of my new label called WMA Apparel, exclusive clothing for artists and gamers designed by me. So in case you're wondering, I might have to change the channel name to Watch Me Animate and Design. The launch lineup is ready with lots of cool designs to choose from, so head on over to WMAapparel.com to check it out.
Watch Me Animate. It's time to let John show us how it's done. Let's begin.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome to Watch Me Animate. My name is Jonathan Abbenheim, and today we will be animating a Mario jump. Now, I'm very excited to be kicking off this series exactly where we left off in episode 11 with the Mario run. Speaking of which, we're going to use that run done in episode 11 and make 3 copies of it in our timeline for later use when we want to see the run and jump together in action. Now, onto the posing. Let's get that iconic Mario jump pose that we all love and know so well. Our reference for this jump will be none other than the classic Super Mario 64 jump on the N64. What an amazing game that was. The very first time we got to see Mario in the 3rd dimension, a very big deal in video game history. Now, 3 poses is all we need to get this jump in the air, and 2 of those poses are identical poses. Pose number 1, the anticipation, number 2, the jump, and number 3, anticipation. Now that we got our 3 poses in, we'll duplicate the second pose, which is the jump, so that we get a little hang time in the air. And moving forward, it's all about spacing out our keys to get the proper timing dialed in. You'll notice that when we are playing back the animation, Mario's run cycle, which we copied a few times at the start, is also being used. This allows us to better adjust the jump animation so that it works perfectly with his run. Alright, so we got our 3 poses and base timing dialed in, and since this animation is relatively straightforward, we can jump right into the polish pass mode. Now, we'll start off with the calm first, as you probably guessed. Now, if you've been a fan of this channel, you know that it's all about the calm, and it's what I will touch first in most of my animations. The calm, for those who don't know, is the center of mass, and it's also known as the cog, C-O-G, center of gravity, but we'll be calling it the calm moving forward. So from the calm, we'll work our way up to the spine and then drop down to the feet. We're essentially cleaning up the F curves on the calm, the spine, and the feet, which will help tighten up the overall look and feel of the animation. One of the most recognizable aspects of a proper Mario jump would probably be his arms. He jumps into the air and he thrusts his arms up, giving us the iconic jump we love so much. Now, that's exactly what we're animating here. The subtle rotations we are adding should complement and support the rest of his jump. It's important to remember that the arms should not overpower the rest of the body, but instead support his movement up into the air. The subtle rotations that we've added, they spice up the jump with a little more life as we continue to polish this animation. Back down to the legs we go as we tighten up our keyframes in the F-curve editor. We want to make sure that the arcs for both the translation and the rotation are such that the energy of the kicking motion outwards feels evenly distributed. Now, we'll move up to the head to add in the anticipation by making a few adjustments on the Z rotation. And then the next will be the X rotation. We'll make his head turn ever so slightly left to right to give us a little more texture. And then we'll go back and forth cleaning up the F curves. Now the next thing we want to do is add in some squash and stretch. Now this rig allows us to do squash and stretch, so of course we're going to use it, and we'll do it on his head and his hips. The squash and stretch is super subtle, but just enough to feel it in the jump. Now, it certainly adds more appeal to the overall jump, and let's be honest, this is Mario, he's all about appeal. Now let's add a little more pop to the jump, and how will we do this, you're probably wondering? Well, it's actually quite easy. We're gonna go on the first frame of the jump, we're gonna create a contrasting pose, and in this case, we'll curl him up like a little ball, and that's really all you need. Now, your eyes won't necessarily register the first frame, but instead you're gonna feel that something is happening, giving you that pop in the animation. Now, while we're at it, let's not forget to bring that mustache to life, very important. A few key frames and that should do it. Now, our jumper model doesn't really have a sophisticated facial rig, as you can see, but that certainly doesn't stop us from having a little fun by animating the ears, his nose, mustache, and even eyes, which all have controllers. It's these little details that aren't as noticeable at first, but certainly add a level of polish to the final overall animation. Here we go with the final pass on our Super Mario 64 inspired jump, and at this stage of the animation our timing is locked in, our key poses are locked in, and any tweaks in general are very minor and super subtle, but still necessary to tighten up the overall appeal of this iconic jump. Alright, time for a true story. 1985, my parents brought me to Hampton Beach and bought me my first Nintendo Entertainment System. Now when we crossed the border back into Canada and the Border Patrol asked my parents if we purchased anything on our trip, my parents totally forgot about the NES. And then the officer, of course, asked to take a look in the trunk of our car, and there it was, an NES all sealed up, brand new. I cried and begged the officer for forgiveness, and it worked. Thank God for this officer, he was awesome. I made it back home to play Super Mario on my NES, baby. Oh my God, the times and the memories I had with the Nintendo, amazing. All right, time for a WMA recap. 3 poses with 1 duplicate, starting with the anticipation, then the jump, then back down to the anticipation. Next step, we locked in our timing and spacing. We then adjusted the calm, spine, and feet F-curves. Moving forward, we added the arms into the mix. We then tightened up our F-curves and added some squash and stretch. More polish was added, and then we added the pop at the beginning on the first frame of our jump. A little facial animation added to give us more appeal. Final touches were added, and that is how we animate the iconic Super Mario 64 jump from the N64.
To be continued.
What's up guys, hope you enjoyed watching this video. My new merch line is officially launched, so be sure to check it out by clicking the WMA apparel link. If you're not already a Watch Me Animate subscriber, click on the top left of your screen so you don't miss out on any new videos. And if you want to watch the last episode, click the video in the lower left of your screen. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next episode.